Hello everybody, welcome back to episode 39 of the YouTube channel dedicated to the development and construction of the Lake Erie and North Shore Railroad. And you say welcome back. It's been a while since I had a chance to add to the YouTube channel. I've been busy out doing conferences and things like that. It's that time of the year. But now I'm back and I thought I'd get this thing out right away to you. It's getting a little bit long, so I thought I'd cut it and just get a video out so you guys can have a look what's happening. And we're back to the building the escarpment series, and I've got a couple really interesting YouTube ideas coming up, and one of them is building a camera, putting a camera on your one of the cars in your railroad so you can film it as it goes around. Pretty cool. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be in future episodes, but right now let's get on to episode 39. We're going to talk about how to put some scenery onto the escarpment, some foliage, some plants and bushes, get some weathering techniques on the retaining wall, and focus a little bit on the retaining wall just so that you can see how to take it from a rather bland sort of addition to actually making it look realistic. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the episode. Please share your thoughts about the channel in the comment section, and please subscribe, let your friends know so we can grow the channel. And without further ado, guess what? You haven't heard it in a while. It's Railroad Soul.
Across the prairies to the sea, they lay the iron for the rails and we ride. They shared their lives, their hearts, and their pride. They had really sorrow.
Okay, so today, right now, we're going to put the sculptamold onto the retaining wall. And so the first thing we want to do is I mixed up a good batch of sculptamold, just put some old brown paint in it that I had. It's probably sort of this thick, like a porridge thickness. So I mixed some of that up. Now we're going to come along and just peel this tape back, because we are going to be coming out a little bit here on the bottom of the retaining wall. Okay, so I've got most of this cleared away now, and then we're just gonna go along the bottom and then along the top here and then along these two sides. And so I'm just gonna start on the top, and I'm gonna just put some stuff in here. I want to just fill this in a bit. All I'm doing is filling in this hole, so if it's not totally on camera, you're not missing too much. I'm just I'm gonna fill that crack in at the top. I'm not gonna fill the crack in here. I'm gonna put some foliage up there, I think. But just as we're going along here, so a little bit. back soon. Okay, so this is what we're left with when the sculptamold is dried on the retaining wall. Now we're going to just add a little bit of paint. I'm just going to do this in dry brushing fashion. So all I'm doing is I've got some waxed paper, and then I'm just going to come along this brown just to give it a little bit more blend in to the surroundings here. And you don't need a lot of paint at all, and you just rub it off. That I'm just going to put just randomly along this top. And you can see already we're starting to get a little bit of a smooth, a little bit of a blended look from that stark brown that we had just with the sculptamold. And I'm just doing that just anywhere I see some of that dark brown has got on the fence, retaining wall, sorry, it's not a fence. Now don't worry too much about this because we're going to be putting some foliage on this. I'm kind of up on the table here, that's why I'm up on the table, balanced between the tracks. That's why I'm talking kind of funny. Just trying to some blend in here. Okay, now I think you're starting to see that that is starting to look a little better. So this is just colors I've picked up. You go to the paint store and they got these on sale for $2.75 or whatever. They're just off tints that people didn't want. So I grabbed those. Now I'm gonna just take one more shade here, just to give this a little bit more complexity. Now this one's a little darker, sort of bluish gray, almost purple. Bringing that right out to the edge. Just to give it a little more depth in the color. Okay, perfect. gonna let that dry a bit, and then we'll come back and we'll put on some, we'll start putting on some foliage around that and see how that starts to come up. I'm actually quite pleased with that now. And back when we get some foliage on it. Okay, so here we are. We're just gonna continue on with our vegetation application now on the escarpment. And how I do that, the first step anyway, is I have taken some white glue, okay, and I've put it in a container. I always like to get a container that has a screw-on lid, okay, and I put in the white glue and I mix it at about 8:1 ratio. So 8 times water, 1 times glue. Put on the lid, shake her up good. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to take a cheap brush, like this, dip it in that glue, water, and then we're just going to apply it where we think we want some foliage to sort of hang to the rocks. So I usually go sort of where there's flat areas. Go right up to the top here. Okay, now I usually do about that much. And then we get out our woodland scenics grasses. And I don't know if you can see these, but I'm going to use the yellow grass and the 2 green grasses. Okay, and then I just take a little bit in my fingers and I just start letting it fall, just sprinkling it with my fingers. Now I know some people will use a salt and pepper shaker or something like that, but I just use my fingers. That. Okay, now some of the spots, just gonna get in here a little bit more. There a bit more. And some stuff you just gotta throw on like that. And then you wanna just let it sit and dry pretty much overnight. I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of this yellow grass because you don't want too much of that on there. I'm going to put a bit more here. You see, I can just throw it on. And then we're going to just vacuum the excess off. So don't worry about if there's a bit of excess on there. I think I'm going to get a little bit more in here. And this is just the first application, so we're going to do some other stuff. Okay, but you want to have a little bit of grass. There's a good layer there. I don't want to get too much of that on. Okay, so that's kind of the technique that we're going to use. So I'll continue on with that. And when I get more done, I'll come back and show you how it looks. Okay? Don't go away. Okay, so I've got a little bit more done here, and I've just removed the tape from this one entrance just so you can get an idea. You can see some of the ballast came up a little bit, so I'm gonna have to reballast here, but I knew that some of that stuff happens. I'm gonna reballast all along here anyway because it's a little bit rough, so we'll just reballast that. But I just wanted to show you the greenage, the first coat of the foliage, the green grass, moss, whatever you want to call it. That I've got done. This is zooming in a little bit more so you can see a little bit closer how it looks. Okay, so you can see it's just the first coat, but it's starting to look a little more realistic. Sorry about the shakiness, I'm just moving around so you can see it from another angle here. And you want to just put it in places, for instance down in this area here where you know there's going to be some grassy, mossy stuff, and any kind of flat, cracky area, flat areas on top. Okay, and we're also going to put some bushes and trees and stuff on there, so it's going to look pretty amazing, I think. Just give you an idea. And you just, with that light, you know, with the light grassy stuff, you just want to be very light on that because a little bit of that stuff goes a long way. Just going to zoom out a little bit so you can get an idea of the whole thing. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at right now, and I think the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to put some foliage around that retaining wall. It's starting to look really good. I got really lucky with the way the paint has sort of stained that wall to make it look old and rugged. And the cracks in the rocks look really cool, I have to say. Quite happy with those. Alright, so next step is to get some bushes on here, maybe some old broken branches and things like that, and then we'll get busy planting some trees. Alright, looking good. Very pleased with this so far. Let me know what you think. Let me know any other techniques that might work better, and maybe we'll give those a go. Okay, so I will be back in a flash, and we will start doing the foliage, little bushes and stuff around this retaining wall, and maybe even add a few up here onto the escarpment. I'll show you how I do that, and then I'll go and finish a bunch and we'll come back and see how it looks. Alright, stay tuned! Hello, we're back, and we're going to start doing the foliage on the retaining wall, and I'll just show you how I do it. Now I'm actually on the layout right now, so I'm kind of limited to how I move, but hopefully you'll be able to see everything that is going on. Okay, so what you need, I use this glue gun, so this hot glue gun, and then you're going to need probably a couple of these glue sticks, and then I have 3 different colors of foliage. and a pair of tweezers should we need them to put this stuff on. Now, what you want to do is just kind of look at what I'm going to do anyway to start with, is where we have little brown areas and gaps. I'm going to start putting the foliage there, and then I'm going to run some up this crack and some up the end here, and then across the top, and we'll see how that starts to look. I hope my glue gun is ready. Now all you do is take whichever foliage you want to put to start with. And I just put a little bit of glue there, and I'm just going to put that into the glue now. I'm going to actually, I think I'm going to change the color a little bit. And my gun just isn't quite hot enough yet, but I'm going to change the color here. I think let's see what would look best. That looks pretty good. Let's try this. I'll tell you, maybe a bit of a mixture would look good there. These look pretty bright. Actually, I suppose that's not too bad. That might actually be the best. And then we'll transition up into a, so we'll do the lighter green up there and then transition into a darker green at the top, because that would get more sun, I think. So let's just see if we can get some glue out of this thing yet. It's just not hot enough yet. So when we're going across the top, you get an idea. I'm just trying to just get an idea of what's going to look best here. So that. That. I think a bit of a mixture there is what we need. So we'll try to make it look as real as possible. Now down here, I think I might go with that color there. Okay, so you get the idea. This is kind of where the artistic flair comes in. You don't have to be an artist or anything, but you just have to get a feel for how you want it to look. Alright, gun isn't working here today. Oh, there we go. Now I'm just gonna run it down that crack, and we're gonna see how this is gonna look. Some of this, much smaller pieces. And the one downfall with the hot wax is the spider webs that will form. And I want this pushed right in those cracks as much as possible. Glue has kind of dried a bit there. So now, instead of putting it on the actual wall, I'm just going to put it on the piece here. And put that in there. Now I'm going to kind of transition this. Start to transition this, I think. Just get a little bit of green. Put a bit of green. Take a little bit of a different color, just a tiny piece. Watch, that glue is a bit hot. That's why they call it hot glue, I guess. This one a bit of a different shade. Right there. We're also going to go down here a little bit, just like this. out of the way. Now, so you get the idea of what we're trying to do here. And I'm just going to go and complete a bit more. And I'll come back and we'll give you a bit of an overview of how it looks. So I just give me a little update here. I've just progressed a little bit more with this. It's looking not too bad. We got to fill in some other areas there yet, and I think I'll probably put a chute off that line going up the crack there. It looks too straight. But otherwise, starting to look pretty good, and I'll update you when I have some more.